It is Thursday, and right here on Look Up TV, we normally speak on issues health. But then, health is quite a wide conversation because from the environment again, that's where majority of us really get the diseases that we talk about here on our Thursday form. So now today we thought then, why can't we dial it back to where it begins? The environment. And from there, have this conversation of why we need to understand everything that we throw as a waste into the environment. Then from there, we understand how to effectively manage our environment. And from there, we'll then know exactly what is ailing us in terms of the diseases then that we get from the environment. And who better then to have a conversation with on waste data. And it's actually, the conversation today is on the importance of waste audit data and why it's important for sustainable environment care. Today, we are joined by Bernard Odongo, who is from Belovast Limited. Bernard, I hope I've got it wrong. Is that the name of the company, isn't it?
Yes.
Welcome. Karibu sana bana. Yeah? Welcome to Look Up TV. Just for an introduction into this conversation, could you tell me who Belovast is, what you're doing, and what you really want to hit or achieve within the Kenyan economy?
I'm Bernard Odongo, you have said, and I'm the founder of Belovast Limited.
Yes.
This came into being after you have realized that the issues of environment is becoming an issue. Mm-hmm. At our homestead, didn't come to government and within the country and the entire world.
Yes.
And we are trying to analyze and synchronize to find where is the problem coming from. Mm-hmm. And this is what drives us, Belovast, to come into being.
Yes.
Because after doing a lot of research, we find that the waste management company that exists, they are doing a good job, but it will be good if they delve and dwell in the root cause of this waste management problems.
Yes.
And we find that for us to become innovative and address this waste management mm-hmm. in the current world, now we are in the fourth industrial revolution. We must use technology, we must be innovative, and then we must develop a smart solution.
Yes.
All this can only come into being if you have the correct, sure, pure data.
On waste management, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So, I like doing my conversations like this, Bernard. If you look around, let's hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
If you look around, especially in our city, where your company is actually located in Rivu, when you walk around every day, when you look at the waste management companies that we have around here, for me, I'll tell you, I've got no idea whether they're actually waste managed companies who manage our waste. Is that what we start to get it wrong? In the sense of that we, as an economy, haven't given our waste management the proper focus that it deserves?
It's across the world. We find that...
Is it something that is across the world or something that is ailing us here?
It is ailing us here, but we find across the world. Mm-hmm. This waste management sector, so many countries don't give it the resources it deserves.
Yes.
And to Africa and Kenya in particular, that is the case. And to address this issue in a more sustainable way is a big issue again, because I've told you that for us to make sure that the method and the solution is sustainable,
yes.
we must bring the component of people, the planet, and the profit together.
Yes.
When you combine these three factors of social, economic, and progressive agenda together,
yes.
This is what will give us a sustainable solution for us today, tomorrow, and the near future.
I like the way you're mentioning those factors inside there, that you gotta talk about people, the planet, and profit.
Yeah.
Is that what makes it difficult for you then to say, well, we are going to effectively manage our waste properly when you involve all these elements in that discussion, Bernard?
Yeah, that's very fundamental because you see in waste sector, it was be left behind. Other sector, like in financial sector, there's a lot of data importance, realization that had been taken into account.
Yes.
But in waste management, like for example, how easy could waste management be if every industry could know types and quantities of amount of waste it produces. The same to county government. Because if you look at the solutions that are sustainable,
Yes.
are reusing the waste through industrial symbiosis
Yes.
and recycling. And for this to happen effectively, you must have the data. You must know that this industry is working in this particular industrial zone. How much waste is coming from this industrial zone?
And we also need to ask ourselves the question, Bernard, where does it go? Is that what the data needs to point out?
The data is going to point out the waste,
Yes.
the different stream of waste, paper, glass, and trace the waste from the value chain from the time it is being produced to the end time when it is being disposed.
Yes.
So when you have this data now is going to be used to develop a solution. And why Belevas exists is that we help industry to prevent this waste in the first place, because there are some waste that can be prevented. The one that cannot be prevented, we develop solution for companies how they can reduce it.
Yes.
And the one that cannot be reduced, we advise them how they can be reused, recycled,
Yes.
and disposal is the last solution. So we should start by preventing it, reducing it, reusing it, recycling it, and lastly, disposal.
How difficult is it, Bernard, from where you're seated this morning, to, number one, develop this chain in terms of knowing that this industry is going to produce this amount of waste, then these are the consumers who are going to use these products, and the amount of waste that's going to come out, and it's going to end up at this particular point. And if you want to reuse it, this is where exactly you're supposed to collect it from. And if you want it back as a product, this is who can help you. In terms of mapping that journey, we call it a roadmap of this waste, how difficult is it?
This has been a problem, and even the government realizes a problem. And in the last parliament, there's a sustainable waste management bill that has been passed. And this bill talk about extended producer responsibility.
Yes.
What you are saying now is by law, the company should give yearly within 3 years trace of the amount of waste it produced and different streams and how it's managing that.
Yes.
Now it's by law. They are required to do that by law.
Is it complex from that end? And do you think it's happening the way it's supposed to happen in the country?
It's not happening. That's why I say the bill was passed by last parliament.
Yes.
And that's why we are coming into existence to help industries.
To help these industries then be able to follow, isn't it?
Develop the data.
Yes.
Because with the data, managing waste is going to be very, very easy and effective. Because like us, what we think is developing a digital e-commerce platform for waste.
Yes.
Where once we know this waste, the types and the amount, even the recycling and the reducing waste is going to be very easy.
Bernard, paint for me a picture. There's an industry somewhere listening to you. There's a manufacturer somewhere listening to you today. And there's a consumer somewhere listening to you today.
Yes.
And you're telling them, indeed, we can come up with a proper chain of where this waste is going to go and how you can actually get it back should you want you to use it as a product. Could you paint for me a picture of how this data is going to get collected from the industry all the way to the retailer, to the consumer, and back to the manufacturer so they can have a clear picture of, number one, what their waste is really, or has this waste, and in case they want it back, maybe reuse it, like you said when you started this conversation. That's exactly then where they can get it and how they can get it back to the industry.
What Bellevers is doing,
Yes.
Once we have a partner with the company, because what we are trying to do is align with the SDG goals.
Yes.
And one of the SDG goals number 17, is partnership and goals. So we come together and help these industries. Another goal is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So what we do is, once we have partnered with this company, we do the waste audit. We'll tell the company this is the amount of waste to produce.
Okay.
And this is the type. Is it glass? What percentage? Is it paper? What percentage?
Yes.
Is it organic waste? If it is hotel, what percentage? Once we have come up with the data, we develop what we call waste reduction plan. How is the company going to reduce this waste? Mm-hmm. We come up with that plan. That waste reduction plan is going to outline that. And the benefit of us is that also we help the industry to monitor and evaluate their current waste management system.
Yes.
Because you find that industry pay this waste management company that collect their waste according to tonnage, according to amount of waste they produce. Mm-hmm. But us, we are really radically different. As industry pay us by help them reduce amount of waste they produce.
And that's the approach, isn't it?
So the approach is we want to make waste management of this industry to be effective, efficient, economical,
yes,
and sustainable.
Pretty much. So when it comes to waste management, like you said, Bernard, it's not a conversation that you as Bellavast are actually going to pick by yourselves. You say that what essentially gives you the hope that is something that we can actually get to do as a country is that there's already a law that requires these companies to give that report, number one. And we do think that Kenya is heavily committed towards the SDGs, isn't it? Yeah. And we're not very far away from that. It's just 7 years to come if you're counting. If you look at where your company is right now, Bellavast, where you're pegging yourself, has it been easier? Or this is still a place, Bernard, where once you walk into a company, you're the one who makes them realize, oh, there's a law on this, and you can help us do this. Are companies aware that they actually need to do this?
You see, this is something that's been done.
Out of the few companies that you've visited and you've tried to work with?
Yes, we have worked with some hotels.
Yes.
And what you are, I'm telling you, are radically different. We are addressing this issue in terms of planet, profit, and people. Mm-hmm. Once you make this, we strongly believe that for you to develop behavior change,
yes,
towards sustainability, partnership is very key. More important than law, because the law exists. The law can exist, but if the industry does not see the benefit, mm-hmm, how this is going to benefit them. But you see, there's a lot of benefit in this developing this waste management data. Because once the industry has found out that the amount of waste it produces is 1 ton, and there's this industry which can help us reduce this by 10%. Reducing this amount of waste produced by 10% is cost effective. And it's going to be, because of the waste reduction plan, we are going to make sure that your waste management system,
yes,
is effective, efficient, economical, and circular in nature. And this is where the world is going with the issue of climate change.
Yes.
So we'll see how you can incorporate this data, mm-hmm, to make your industry to be sustainable and circular in nature. So we don't come with this aspect that waste management, the government requires you to do this by law. But we came up with the aspect of addressing this, where you benefit, the people around you benefit, the planet benefit, the people benefit, and the entire community benefit.
When you look at economies that are already making advances in this waste management data audits, I think there's something that you might look at it and say, for someone who's listening to you, let me address that particular area for people and profit. If you really are going to make a success of this particular idea and policy, if I may say so, then people and profit is going to be a very critical aspect of companies and also people around, and even the county governments coming in to adopt the systems of waste management audit. Could you talk about how you are seeing this particular aspect of people and profit in this waste audit data? That's where you will start to sell this form.
You see, this waste audit data is very profound and key in addressing waste management system that is effective and sustainable in this current world. Because you see, this waste audit data, the first thing is provide baseline data that will enable you to monitor and evaluate how you are faring. Because in waste management, we say that we don't have control of what we have not measured. So anything that is measured is very easy to control. So many industries are wasting a lot of resources due to mismanagement of raw materials. And we realize that where the world is going, there's a lot of problem caused by climate change. And some of these things can be prevented just by you knowing that this amount of waste is produced. Because with this waste audit data, we answer very key questions. We tell you the type of waste we produce, the amount. We go ahead and tell you, why is this waste being produced? Why is this waste being produced? Who is responsible? Where is this waste being produced? When is this waste being produced? And how can this waste be managed? We address these 5 questions. And with a few companies we have worked with, we tell them this and they are, wow, we didn't know this is happening. Because there are some waste that are being produced by these industries and these businesses like the hotel and food stores. And they are not aware. So that's why we came in. And we also have what we call research lab. Because some of the waste is not just the physical waste, but they're also overproduction. Why do you produce more if you know that the market will absorb this percentage of food? So we'll tell you that maybe instead of producing this 40% of this type of product for this specific period of time, because we realize so many of your waste, so many of products you produced go bad within this period of time. But if you produce maybe 20% within this period of time, you're able to manage your inventory well and prevent waste. And you preventing this waste, it means less waste will be collected, so you pay less to the waste management companies that collect your waste. So this was important data. This is where the world is going. Every industry, every business, and even county government must start looking to make sure that this data is available. Because we realize that even with the county government, the problem is that they don't have pure, sure waste audit data. What they have is general data of waste data that is being given by this haulage farm. But we find these haulage companies that collect this waste, they cannot tell you, in most cases, they will not tell you the reality because we pay them according to waste they collect. And they're interested so that you continue to produce more waste so that they make money.
They get paid more, isn't it?
So as we are going to provide you with the waste audit data, and then this data we'll be able to say last year you are producing 40% of your product, raw materials end up as being waste, and maybe this 1 ton. So we'll evaluate this and monitor this in the next 1 year or 6 months and tell you with the measures we have put in place, your waste reduction has reduced from 10%, 5%. And this is where we'll make our waste management to be sustainable through provision of waste audit data. Like even we see now the problem we have in the country of food insecurity. Do you know that almost 40% of food we produce, that is being produced in the world, and especially in Africa, go to waste?
Actually, that's live data, isn't it? That just goes waste completely.
Go to waste. But in food, now we have 2 types of loss. There's food loss and there's food waste. Food loss is the one which happen early in the food chain due to transport, poor refrigeration.
Yes.
And then there's food waste now. The food maybe has reached the supermarket and is not purchased.
Yes.
But you see now, Belfast is trying to come up with innovative ways how we can help reduce this food waste. Because with food waste and the world now, the issue of the world of climate change, the problem is greenhouse gases emission. And food loss and food wastage greatly contribute a lot to these greenhouse gases. But this is something that can be prevented early enough. That's why Belfast is coming into being and addressing all these problems to ensure that the partners, the industries, the people around benefit from a combined solution. Because for these solutions to be sustainable, we must bring the people, we must bring the industry, we must bring the county government and national government together.
So somebody asked me to put this question to you, and probably the last one that we take, then take a tiny break and then come back and continue with this conversation. Somebody told me to ask you this. As an individual in this particular space, do you get hurt when we as Nairobi, as a county or as a country now, are struggling with dump sites like Dandora dump sites, where the management of the site itself looks a hazard, for lack of a better word, Bernard? If you were given the responsibility of saying, let's manage our dump sites in the city, from a data audit perspective of waste management, what picture could we see?
You see, the issue of Dandora dump site.
Yes.
There are so many issues, like even the cleaning of Nairobi River. The problem is that we are not addressing the root cause, like even the cleaning Nairobi River.
Yes.
It has been cleaned several times and we still go back there. The question should be, where is this waste coming from? As far as waste management in those particular areas that surround Nairobi River, as far as the waste management is going to be the way it is, the problem will still continue to exist.
Yes.
And for the Dandora dump site, this is why waste management, waste audit data is very key. For Dandora, for that problem to be solved, those waste must be turned into a solution, like turning them into energy, where a farm can be given a chance to process the waste into provide energy. But this is very key because you see that with the recycling, data is very key because those people who are ready to invest in that kind of investment, they will require data.
Yes.
What kind of waste is that? But you see now, there are all type of waste. There's organic waste. There's solid waste from different households collected in Nairobi. As far as we are going to develop a system where from each particular ward in Nairobi, we know that this is the amount of waste that is coming here. And this type of waste is this. In this particular ward, we usually have 20% of plastic, 10% of glass.
Yes.
Like I've managed to visit different recycling centers within Nairobi.
Yes.
There's some recycling centers that...
Bernard, I want you to hold on to your thoughts
Okay.
right there, because that's exactly where we're going to next. Because then the next one was the recycling conversation as well, and the entire management of the recycling process in the country. How bad is it lacking? Because that's where the next conversation that will come from in terms of our waste management audit data. That's what we're talking about. And we do have Bernard, who is the founder of Bellovast, which is a company that is looking to streamline the auditing of our waste in the country. And that, according to Bernard, there is a law that requires companies in the country then to continue providing annual reports of the waste they produce, where it lies, and just by how much they've been able to reuse or bring back. If that is a conversation, then where are we? That's the next question that we're going to answer once we come back next online at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I am at Kia Gasimba. Once we come back, the Morning Drift continues.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design, with branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa. Our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
All right. The conversation still goes on. Talk to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I am at Kia Gasimba. We are at the critical area of this conversation. We were talking about just the entire way in which we even manage our waste right here within the city or within our households. And I was speaking to Bernard just before we came back, Bernard, off camera. You're saying that even the way we treat our waste, it's going to be very hard for us to know which waste and from what point that we're going to collect it if we don't even start to think of sorting out this waste. Could you make it clearer this time? Is that what we're lacking? And how can we then start to know which waste that we have if indeed we start to say, let's sort it out before we collect it?
You see, the problem we're having here in Kenya is that we believe that to manage waste is entirely the work of the government and waste collection companies.
Yes.
But now where we have reached, we must start educating our people so that they have this behavior that waste management is everybody's responsibility. And for us to have a very effective, efficient, and sustainable waste management solution that is going to work across the board, all stakeholders must be brought on board. And a better solution is going to be, within this Nairobi County, for example, we divide the wards into different workable regions, and then we bring these waste collectors, these youth groups. Every youth group is assigned particular workable area of collecting this waste from household. Once this waste has been collected from household, it is being sorted, and once it is sorted, it's graded into paper, organic waste, and it's going to be very easy for collection, whereby each waste management company that collects waste is prescribed that you collect this amount of waste in this area at this particular time.
Yes.
Waste management is going to be very easy, effective, and through partnership. This is going to play a big role towards waste management within the county.
But this is a good thing that we also spoke about profit and people in that. Do you think that if these county governments and say that we're going to sort of invest in sorting out this waste management, that one way or another, on a household level, will be easier then for you to start creating employment opportunities in the sorting out process?
In fact, with that particular type of idea now, a business model must be developed.
Essentially from these county governments, isn't it?
Yeah, we're now using, for example, Nairobi. Because now waste pickers, they exist even now. Because they're the one who help this recycling company that exists to get those waste. They collect plastic, they move around, they collect prices, and then they go and sell. Now, these waste pickers, what should happen is that we formalize these waste pickers. They're the one who help in sorting, because now they are helping, they're doing sorting at, there's no formal structure.
Yes.
But now if you come up with a very structured way, and we develop a working business model, where there are those people who sort waste, and those people who collect it from household, and those people who collect it, and the waste management company that will collect it from those designated specific areas to where it's required for disposal. I think this is the best way to go.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
But you spoke about having visited a couple of recycling companies within Kenya. Is there anything that you saw might be lacking within that particular value chain, Bernard?
There's something lacking.
Yes.
And it's even complicating issue of recycling to some. I visited another farm doing recycling, but they're doing the recycling and using the waste to produce briquettes that can be used as charcoal. The issue is that they work for 1 week, they close, they work for 2 weeks, they close, sometimes almost 2 months.
And why is that?
Lack of materials.
And do you believe from where you sit it that they could be having more in terms of getting the raw materials?
That's why I was telling you that when we continue to embrace this waste data, and we develop that waste digital platform, there's going to be availability and knowledge about what type of waste is available where and at what quantity.
Yes.
So even recycling is going to be easy, because there are some recycling that are very cost effective. They require a lot of resources. And you find an investor cannot come here to invest in a company that will work on only 2 months in a year. But with this data now is available, when this data will be available, you'll be able to quantify amount of this particular waste, if it is plastic, for example. What type of plastic? How much is this plastic available within this country? That if I set up my farm,
am I going to get raw material, isn't it?
Yes. The production will continue throughout the year.
Yes.
This kind of factors still use the importance of waste audit.
Yes, Bernard, I like the way you're passionate about these ideas. when you look at the country, how far are we? I mean, we're talking about SDGs, by the way, the Social Development Goals by 2030. It's just 7 years ago, Bernard. How far are we? Have we even scratched the surface when it comes to waste management audit data?
You see, earlier before,
Yes.
there's what you call environmental audit. But environmental audit
It's not essentially waste audit data.
is very wide.
Yes.
That's why we identify this particular need that only deal with waste, because we realize that if you address these waste issues, we are going to touch almost those 15 goals of SDGs.
Yes.
If you address waste issues. That's why we came to address this particular audit called waste audit.
How far are we as a country?
We are not there, but we are going there. There is embracement of.
Yes. Do you think in 7 years we should be there, or we need more time as a country?
It depends also with the people willingness and.
Isn't it? Which was my next question then.
Yeah.
What sort of partnerships, Bernard, do the county governments need to start making now, even if we're going to actualize this? Because now everything about environmental management and some of these functions have been devolved now from the county government from the national government to the county government. If this is going to be a reality, what sort of partnerships are you looking at in the next few years for us to actualize this?
Okay, what should happen is just for county government to create an enabling environment and bring all stakeholders on board.
Yes.
Down from the waste pickers. Mm-hmm. Those people who pick the waste.
Yes.
And formalize those waste pickers into a very structured and formal organization.
Yes.
Up from to those who collect waste, us to people like us, we provide the data. Mm-hmm. To people who produce waste, this is the households and the industries, and then the people who are ready to invest in recycling.
Yes.
If we bring all these partnership together, we are going to achieve so much very fast.
From a policy perspective, Bernard,
Yeah.
I would like to touch on that as well. I mean, there's a law that requires these companies then to give us this data and know exactly how their waste runs within the economy. Do you think now, more than ever, we need to stress on that law so that companies then would be, as opposed to you seeking out these companies will be seeking you now to give them this data?
See, what's important is partnership.
Yes.
Because you realize that
If you say partnership,
I'm saying so because you see, you see now,
Yeah.
if you go within Nairobi,
Yeah.
there's a lot of dumping going on, even around the CBD.
Yes.
But you realize there is a law. If you're found dumping, you are liable for a fine of 200,000. Mm-hmm. Do people care?
They don't.
If you find a plastic bag, it's a fine of 4 million. I'm just trying to tell you that partnership is very key. More than, as far as the law is important, but
Yes.
see, the laws are there. And in fact, if you look around it, like even Rwanda,
Yes.
they're doing very well, but they don't have good laws than us. There, they use a policy called open window. They embrace this culture.
Partnerships.
They embrace culture that waste management is entirely belongs to everybody, and everybody has responsibility. And they're doing very well because of behavior change. Now, behavior change, to force it with the law, sometimes here in Kenya is very... Because now, if you are fined with a plastic bag,
Yes.
fine is 4 million. Do people care?
Just so
Fine
that,
dumping within the CBD there, fine is 200,000. So which law do you want to bring? That's why we are finding that one of the key issues of all of us is also waste education.
Yes.
To change behavior change. Behavior change will play a big role, more than the law.
More than the law, isn't it? All right. Just before I talk about exactly what you want to achieve within the year as the Bellavast, take me back again, Bernard.
Yeah.
Here's what we're saying about sustainable environment management. This is another area as well that is quite important for environment management. How important is this data? Because all of a sudden, everybody does say, we just need to clean the environment. Can we just clean without having this data?
You see now, cleaning without data, like for example, I was telling you that the issue of people have a lot of food security in the world, and
Yes.
Kenya in particular. There's a lot of food waste, a lot of food that is going to waste. If you just clean and then you go and dispose of the food to, or the waste to, the waste already come and collect it. You see,
Yes.
the issues we are addressing now within the country and the world now is climate change. You see, the far as we go and dispose this food, or we manage it to dispose it, as far as even you follow the law, but disposing it create greenhouse gases. And these are things that affect climate and lead to drought and disasters. So it's not just the issues of doing it, doing the cleaning, but doing cleaning in a sustainable way. Because now if you have the data,
Yes.
you know that this our industry produces this kind of waste and this amount. And we have partnered with you. We are going to develop for you waste reduction plan and tell you, you see this particular type of waste, you can reuse it or you can recycle it. And the following as a type of people who can recycle it. You see now what we are trying to address with sustainability is that as far as we are providing the need of our current generation,
Yes.
we should not compromise the need of our future generation. So the solution should be circular in nature. Being circular in nature, it means that even the extraction of raw materials should reduce. If you produce a particular type of product and there is waste, can you look the way you can reuse this waste?
Yes.
If you cannot reuse it, can you look the way you can recycle it? If you cannot recycle it, that's why partnership is important. This waste can be sold to other industries that can be used as raw materials in a very organized manner.
Yes.
Because I was telling you that it's not only about doing it, but doing it in a strategic manner, which will do it today, we'll do it tomorrow, and in the near future, without compromising the future generation.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Let's dial it back then to Bellavest as a company, Bernard. The year has just started and you're really passionate about this space. You want to get into this space and streamline waste management data audit in the country. What are we looking at from your company this year, all the way up to the end of 2023?
Our aim is, we have come from agrarian revolution to industrial revolution.
Yes.
But you find with waste, the way things used to happen is the way they are happening. What our aim is that we want to revolutionize this waste industry through the data.
Yes.
We want to make waste management to be effective, efficient, sustainable, economical, and circular in nature through provision of data to our industries, to businesses, to county government.
Yes.
In providing the solution.
So the approach that we expect from you this year is that you'll be approaching many companies and county governments for partnerships. Is that what we're going to see from Bellavest?
What Bellavest exists to fulfill is, in fact, making the work of industries to be easy. And we realize that even most industries now, they are focusing so much on making profit and doing sales. But now we are telling that as far as also you're doing sales, which is very important. But you can also focus on reducing waste.
Yes.
Because if you reduce waste, you also reduce the cost. And there are so many other benefits that will come up during the waste audit. First, we'll help you reduce waste, you save cost. The data also help you to do a baseline. Does this current waste management that you are being offered, is it effective? Does it line with the issues of sustainability that's now is a concern to the country and the world.
Yes.
So these are the factors that the company or the industries are likely to benefit from getting this waste audit data.
Yes.
Going forward.
Pretty much. But want us to also touch on the county governments. What approach are you going to use for the county governments? Because indeed, if you're going then to talk about this being felt across the country or your data getting utilized across the country, I believe that the county governments also have to have a say in this as well.
You see, what's happening in county government is that there's some data, even if you try to look now, you'll not get.
Yes.
Because the data they are using is general and high level. So it is not detailed. So all we're trying to do
So
is...
is it easy to break this data into chunks that the county government actually get to utilize?
That's why we are into being.
Yes.
Like for county government, the county government just needs to bring partnership with all these stakeholders and develop a model that will fit. Because, you know, with waste management, sometimes there can be complexity with resources. Because
Yes.
you find that the county government across Kenya, they really allocate very little amount towards
Yes.
waste management. So even the little they allocate must be used effectively and efficiently.
Another question that you're going to run into, especially when you're going to make this your model of data and the waste management popular, is that are you ready to work with the existing waste management companies in the country? Is it going to be easier to work with existing companies, or it's going to be easier to work with households and industries in terms of coming up with a clear picture?
You see, us, we are not involved in transporting waste or collecting waste. Us,
Yes.
what we do only provide data.
Yes.
And it will be very effective, smart, and efficient to work with the company that are already existing. But you find that there are some very good, doing a very good job. But you find the problem come to now collection of waste in these slum-dwelling areas. But in this suburb, where people pay, because you find that problem, one of the problems with the waste collection, especially in the slums, is that payment.
Yes.
These big companies that collect waste, they are not interested to go to those areas because payment is really an issue. And that's why I'm telling you that a business model must be developed, how this is going to be done. Once this is addressed is when we are going to see a waste management issue is going to be a thing in the past.
Yes.
In the whole Nairobi County.
Pretty much. All right. For somebody who's listening then, Bernard, paint for me a picture of Belfast in the next 5 years.
Belfast,
And the entire waste management audit sector.
Belfast in the next 5 years.
Yes.
Our key interest is to develop a trusted, sustainable solution for industries, for businesses, and county government.
Yes.
Taking into account all concerned stakeholders. And our aim is to make waste management to be easier, faster, and cheaper through developing a solution to every specific industry. Because as we do the data is generated from your industry. So the solution is going to be specific to our industry.
Yes.
And we hope to see the company coming on board to make their system to be effective, efficient, and to county government also.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Bernard, thank you very much for taking your time to visit us here at Look Up TV, man.
Okay.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Guess what? I'll be, maybe one of these fine days, you'll be taking us to the field so you can actually get to show us exactly what the disconnect is, isn't it? Okay. Between the way we manage our waste with what your data is essentially going to do. We'll be much pleased to follow you to the field.
Thank you very much.
All right. Make sure to call me up. I'll be there. All right. That is Bernard, the founder, Belfast, really talking about the importance of data in waste management. They say that without data then, I think we're running behind. if you look at the social development goals for 2030, isn't that we're not there yet? So indeed, if we're really going to achieve some of this, we need to move fast and quicker that for us to be on that level of saying that we are able to manage the environment well, to the point that he's spoken about some of the common diseases, some of the common problems that we have right now, even scarcity of food. Isn't that if you really employ this data, then some of them under food waste are not going to be there. Quite an important conversation. You don't have any other question for him, you don't know what to do at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba. That's exactly what we have for you today. Tomorrow, we meet for the Friday edition, which is essentially Costa de Reca. All right, good. It's a good day, as does it. But thank you very much for coming, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good.